Hello everyone and welcome back to my Bold and Beautiful 29 YouTube channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Brooke Logan continues trying to reason with Ridge Forrester. Meanwhile, while Spencer questions Ivy Forrester, Electra Forrester gushes about running into an old friend. Brooke insists what she's byword is true. Ridge doubts Carter Walton is trying to take control of the whole company. Brooke says he formerly has. Ridge is in unbelief. Carter tells Hope Logan it didn't have to go down like this. Hope tries to move Carter that Ridge and Steffy Forrester Finnegan are the adversaries. Hope says now, they've to hear to Carter. Will is looking at Ivy and Electra's jewelry pieces. Ivy tells a confused Will that the point figures of the pieces are on the markers. Ivy apologizes that the task isn't more instigative. Will says he's looking forward to seeing Electra when she gets back from lunch. Ivy aloud. They went to lunch together. Will explains he was called back to work beforehand and asks if Ivy has heard from Electra. Ivy hasn't. They both aloud. Electra would be back by now. Electra is still hanging out with Remy Price at Il Giardino. Electra seems agitated that Remy is there. Electra asks what Remy is doing in LA. Remy says like her, he's there to make a fresh launch. For a moment, Electra's face seems tense as she says LA is a good place for a fresh launch. Remy says he really wanted to see Electra, too. Electra cachinnations and smiles really big. Ivy is going to text Electra. Will is glad Ivy looks out for Electra. Ivy calls herself a defensive aunt. Will says he wants to cover Electra, too. Ivy asks what Will means. Will says Eldade is great but it can be a lot occasionally. As Will continues talking, Ivy seems upset. Will says occasionally, it's hard to know who your real musketeers are. Remy says he misses Electra. Why didn't he hear from Electra once she left city? Remy says he's been keeping tabs on Electra. Hope says Ridge and Steffy ignored Carter's warnings. Carter brings up Ridge subscribing the papers Indeed after spotting his name in the director spot. Hope asks how Carter feels about that. Carter brings up Ridge supporting Steffy. Hope says this is as far as it has to go. Hope adds that nothing knows, they can just cancel the whole thing. Ridge thinks Brooke knew. Brooke says she did not. Brooke really aloud. Carter and Hope would be a good thing. Brooke says now Carter is stealing control of the company, stealing control from Ridge. FICO CEO says this is insolvable. Brooke continues trying to get through to Ridge. Ivy gushes about Electra to Will. Ivy brings up the family that's now supporting Electra and brings up trust. Will asks if Electra didn't always have that? Ivy tries to cover and Will asks further questions. Will gets a vibe that commodity bad happened to Electra back home. Will cares about Electra, and that's why he's asking. Remy says Electra knows how much he's always watched about her. You're veritably special, Electra. Remy brings up Ivy and Forrester Creations. Remy is happy for Electra. Remy hopes LA is good for him, too. Electra hopes Remy stays. Remy seems surprised. Electra says it's nice to see a friendly face. Ivy texted Electra, she rushes out back to work. Remy calls her beautiful. Electra suggests they hang out eventually, before taking off. Carter says the plan could change everything. Carter says when Ridge finds out, this whole thing will blow up. Carter thinks it's the only way to get the company back on track. Hope gushes about Carter's leadership and how he can transfigure the company. Carter wants to do so much more. Hope feels insurmountable with Carter by her side. Carter is risking everything, Hope says. Brooke says all the pressure and enmity in the company has come to Carter's scheme. Brooke says that Carter and Hope feel wronged and disrespected. Ridge and Brooke debate over who's the one really wronged. Ridge wants to know why now. Brooke reasons that Carter and Hope felt they didn't have a choice. Ridge yells that there's always a choice as he frenetically starts pacing the office. Ridge stops and says Carter wouldn't do this, he's like a family. Will just wants to help Electra. Ivy changes the subject to how happy Will makes Electra. Oh, Electra eventually walks in. Will apologizes for leaving and Electra says she ran into an old friend from back home. Hope tells Carter he doesn't have to do this, not if he's sure. Carter is sure about Hope. Carter will always have her back. Hope has no way felt so safe or supported, she says. Carter and Hope passionately kiss. Ridge continues defending Carter. Brooke says Carter wants to run the company. They debate about why Carter would do this. Ridge questions if Brooke is sure Carter and Hope are romantically involved. Brooke is relatively certain. Brooke says Hope was trying to cover Carter and that's how the whole scheme got started. Ridge looks like he feels terrible. Brooke tells Ridge that Hope was wearing the lingerie for Carter. Ridge is eventually getting it. Brooke says at first, Carter was defending Hope. But now, what Carter is doing is wrong. Ridge realizes his trust was broken by Carter. Electra gushes about her friend. Will asks if it's an old swain. Electra says nothing like that, just old musketeers. Electra is super agitated. Electra says you don't realize how important you miss someone until you see them again. At Il Giardino, Will stands outside gaping at a print of Electra on his phone. Remy says to himself, oh, you'll surely be seeing further of me, Electra. Ridge asks if Brooke knew about this. Brooke didn't. Ridge asks if Brooke said commodity to them or came to him first. Brooke says she came right there to tell him. This is hurting the people Brooke cares about, she says. Ridge says Carter gave him a warning, but he didn't realize it was a trouble. Ridge realizes the look on Carter's face was guilt. Justin Barber, to help Ridge Forrester. Remy Price schemes Deacon Sharp. Plus, Electra Forrester eventually tells Ivy Forrester the real reason she fled to Los Angeles. Keep reading to find out what's coming up coming week in the CBS Cleaner Pieces. Ridge wouldn't believe Brooke Logan's claim at first. After Ridge gets over the shock, he blows up. In an exercise clip, Ridge tells Brooke, your son and Carter took over the company. It sounds like Ridge is condemning Brooke from his tone in the exercise clip. Meanwhile, Electra extends an assignation to Remy, ignorant of the peril. Electra eventually tells Ivy the real reason she ran to Los Angeles. It's teased that the secret will be nothing what anyone expects. Meanwhile, Remy works his magic on Deacon. It works as Cleric becomes intrigued. Is this Remy's attempt to get a job? It shouldn't be too hard since Electra will presumably enfeeble for Remy, and Deacon is incredibly short-staffed. Nothing magical about that. Also, Ridge will reel over Carter Walton's treason. Carter has left a mess for Forrester Creations. Ridge decides to call high-end attorney Justin to clean it up. Meanwhile, Hope Logan's world is shattered when she learns of Brooke's treason. While Brooke felt she had no choice, Hope might not believe that. Could Hope and Brooke's relationship deteriorate over the treason? With Carter's achievement easily a failure, what does that mean for his love with Hope? Will she be interested in Carter presently now that he can't help her? Will Carter and Hope come up with a plan B? Taylor checks in with Ridge at the Forrester Creations main office. He wants to make sure she's not working too hard. Taylor says she's doing a little work and checking in with her health and hardiness providers. They shift to agitating Steffy and all the problems with which she's been dealing. Ridge says she's cleared all of the worrisome gibberish and is ready to concentrate on her mama. Taylor thinks all the attention isn't necessary, but Ridge says he's going to continue to ride her as he does and suppose she's taking her health seriously enough. Taylor appreciates the concern, especially with all the foolishness passing at Forrester. She can't imagine how Brooke replied to Hope's redundancy. Ridge confirms his woman is furious just as she enters, looking veritably uncomfortable and concerned.